When the first drop of rain touches the earth, do you only see water falling from the sky? Or do you feel the voice of God speaking to you? Most people, when they hear the sound of rain against their windows, when they smell the soil awakening, or when they rush to take shelter under a roof, believe they are witnessing nothing more than a natural event. They say to themselves, "It is raining. The clouds are heavy. The air has cooled." They think it is only weather, ordinary and predictable. Yet through the eyes of the great Sufi master Ibn Arabi, rain is never just water, and storms are never only the play of the skies. In his vision, every drop is a messenger, every cloud a veil that lifts to reveal divine presence. He believed that in the universe nothing happens without meaning, not even the smallest movement of creation. A leaf does not fall without purpose, an ant does not move without wisdom, and a drop of rain does not descend without being written in God's eternal plan. When you pause to watch rain, you may notice how it softens the ground, how it quiets the noise of the world, how it makes the earth breathe differently. Ibn Arabi would say this is not a coincidence. This is God speaking to you through his creation. Every detail in the world, from the stars above to the rivers below, is a letter in the book of existence. Rain, too, is a verse written for you to read. It is as though the heavens themselves lean closer to whisper. Look deeper. Reflect more. Awaken your heart. Think for a moment about how rain arrives. The sky grows heavy with clouds. The air shifts. Thunder may sound, and then from above comes something invisible, made visible, drops that nourish, cleanse, and transform the world. Ibn Arabi taught that this cycle mirrors your own soul. Just as the earth waits for water, your heart waits for mercy. Just as the seeds in the ground are awakened by rain, so too are the seeds of faith and remembrance inside you awakened by divine attention. This is why when rain falls, it is more than weather. It is a reminder of your dependence, a sign of God's generosity, and a call to awaken. So the real question becomes, when the rain comes into your life, do you only see the clouds and the wet streets? Or do you notice the unseen message? Perhaps it is calling you to remember patience, perhaps to prepare for growth, or perhaps simply to pause and acknowledge that you are never forgotten. For Ibn Arabi, rain was not ordinary at all. It was a mirror of divine mercy. And if you learn to see it with the eyes of the heart, you may realize that every storm, every gentle drizzle, every drop that falls on your skin is an invitation from God himself. Ibn Arabi often described the universe as a great book, every page filled with signs, every line written by the hand of the Creator. To him, the world was not silent. It spoke constantly, but most people did not know how to listen. He would remind his students that even the smallest event around them carried meaning if only they paused long enough to reflect. Rain in particular was one of those signs that could not be ignored. When it fell from the sky, it was as though the unseen world was pouring itself into the seen, bridging heaven and earth in a language beyond words. He would say everything speaks in the language of its creator, and in that truth lies the secret of rain. Each drop is not simply water. It is a syllable in that divine language. Together, millions of drops form sentences, whole chapters of meaning written across the canvas of the sky. For Ibn Arabi, To watch rainfall was to watch revelation descend in a form that anyone could see, even if they did not understand. Imagine a seeker walking under the clouds as the first drops begin to fall. To the ordinary eye, it may seem like the beginning of a storm, but to the one who has trained the heart to listen, it feels like mercy descending, like the soul being watered by a wisdom that cannot be spoken. In Sufi gatherings, the appearance of rain was often received with gratitude, sometimes even with tears, because it reminded them that God's care is not abstract. It is tangible. It touches the skin, it nourishes the ground, and it keeps life itself in motion. Rain also shows us the unity of creation. It does not fall only for one person, one home, or one land. It descends on rich and poor alike, on the believer and the doubter, on the earth that is fertile and the soil that is barren. In this, Ibn Arabi saw a lesson. Divine mercy is vast, unending, and not withheld from anyone. The only question is whether we open our hearts to receive it. The next time rain falls where you live, pause for a moment. Listen not only to the rhythm on the rooftops, but to the silence behind it. Feel not only the coolness of the drops, but the tenderness of the one who sent them. For Ibn Arabi, this was the way to live. To never stop at the outward form, but to search for the inward truth. The clouds you see above you are not empty. They are vessels of meaning, carriers of wisdom, signs waiting to be read. And when they open, they pour not only water, but also reminders, invitations, and truths that can awaken your heart if you let them. Rain has always been one of the clearest symbols of mercy in the Sufi path, and Ibn Arabi often reminded his followers that mercy is not only a word but an endless reality that sustains the entire universe. Just as the earth cannot survive without rain, the soul cannot survive without the mercy of God. When you see rain falling, it is not just a cycle of nature. It is mercy made visible. Every drop is a reminder that the divine does not forget his creation. He nourishes it again and again, even when people are heedless, even when they do not ask. Think of the ground before the rain arrives. It is dry, cracked, and lifeless. Seeds lie hidden beneath the surface, unable to grow, waiting for something they cannot produce on their own. Then the clouds open and suddenly life awakens. The earth softens, the seeds break open, and green shoots begin to rise. This is not just biology, it is a mirror of your own heart. Without mercy, your soul becomes like dry soil, hard and unresponsive. But when mercy descends, even in the smallest measure, the hidden potential within you awakens. Qualities you did not know you had begin to appear. Patience, gratitude, love, and awareness grow like plants nourished by the rain. Ibn Arabi would say that mercy is always descending just as rain is always circulating in the unseen world, waiting for the right moment to appear. The question is not whether mercy comes, but whether we are ready to receive it. A barren heart is like a rocky field. When rain falls, the water runs off without sinking in. But a heart prepared with remembrance and humility is like fertile soil. It drinks deeply, and every drop becomes growth. This is why the Quran often compares revelation to rain. Both descend from above. Both give life where there was none, and both are sent as a gift that cannot be earned. Rain does not fall because the ground deserves it. It falls because God has written it in His wisdom. In the same way, mercy comes to you not because of what you have achieved, but because of who He is, the All-Merciful. Ibn Arabi saw this as the greatest comfort. You are never cut off from God's care, because His mercy surrounds you like the sky surrounds the earth. So the next time you see the clouds gather and the rain begin to fall, remember that it is more than water. It is a gentle reminder that you are sustained by something greater than yourself. It is God's way of saying, even when you forget me, I do not forget you. Every drop is a sign that the doors of mercy are open, that the heavens have not closed, and that life both outward and inward continues because of His endless compassion. Rain is not only a symbol of mercy, it is also a sign of provision. Ibn Arabi would say that just as the earth drinks from the sky, every living soul drinks from the unseen generosity of God. Rain is not random. It is measured, sent at the right time in the right place for a purpose written long before you were born. Each drop that falls is part of a balance that feeds plants, fills rivers, and nourishes every creature. This is why in the language of the Sufis, rain is often tied to the divine name Arzak, the provider, the one who sustains all that exists. When rain falls, think of how it awakens what has been hidden. Seeds buried deep in the soil, invisible to the eye, suddenly stir with life. Tiny roots push downward, green shoots rise upward, and within days a field once barren becomes a field full of growth. Ibn Arabi would say this is the same with the human heart. Within you are seeds of potential, talents, virtues, and insights you do not yet know. But they remain asleep until God sends the rain of His provision. Sometimes that provision comes as knowledge, sometimes as opportunities, sometimes as moments of clarity that shift your entire life. Without that divine provision, the seeds within you stay dormant. With it, they grow into something greater than you could have imagined. Rain also shows us that provision is not only material. Yes, it brings food, crops, and sustenance for the body. But Ibn Arabi would remind us that true provision includes what feeds the soul, a kind word that uplifts you, a verse of scripture that stirs your heart, an unexpected ease in a difficult time. These are forms of rain for the spirit. Just as the earth does not live by water alone, you do not live by bread alone. You live by the constant flow of God's care reaching you in countless forms. Notice also how rain never chooses its audience. It falls on fields that are cultivated and on fields that are neglected. It nourishes both the farmer who plants with care and the passerby who does nothing. In this, Ibn Arabi saw another lesson. God's provision is vast and impartial. It is not limited to the deserving nor withheld from the heedless. Instead, it comes as a reminder that everything you have, even the breath you are taking now, is a gift that could never be earned. The true question is not whether God provides, but whether you recognize it. So the next time you hear rain striking against the earth, remember that your own life is also being watered by unseen streams. Even when you are unaware, the provider is sending you exactly what you need in the right measure at the right time. To see rain in this way is to see beyond water. It is to witness a reflection of the divine generosity that has always sustained you and will continue to sustain you until the end. When the rain begins to wash the earth, something remarkable happens. Dust is lifted from the leaves, the air becomes clearer, the streets are refreshed, and even the sound of falling water seems to cleanse the noise from the world. Ibn Arabi would say that this outward cleansing is a mirror of the inward purification the soul is in constant need of. Just as the land gathers dust and dirt over time, so too does the heart gather burdens, distractions, and stains from daily life. Pride, envy, resentment, and forgetfulness cling to us in ways we do not always notice. Then God sends His rain, and suddenly the heart is given a chance to be washed clean. Imagine the feeling of stepping into the world after a rainfall. The air is lighter, the ground seems alive, and the sky carries a freshness that was absent only hours before. This Ibn Arabi would teach is how it feels when the heart is purified. After tears of repentance, after sincere remembrance, or after a moment of humility, you suddenly breathe differently. The heaviness you carried is lifted, and you are reminded that the soul, like the earth, can always be renewed. The rain outside becomes a reflection of the rain inside, both washing away what prevents growth. Yet Ibn Arabi also pointed out that purification does not always come gently. Sometimes rain arrives as a storm, fierce and overwhelming. Floods uproot trees, rivers overflow, and whole landscapes are reshaped. In the same way, the trials that cleanse a soul can be intense, shaking the foundations of your life. But even those storms carry wisdom. Just as violent rain clears away old debris and prepares the ground for something new, hardships clear away arrogance, illusions, and attachments that block you from God. They may feel harsh in the moment, but they serve a higher purpose of renewal. There is a verse in the Quran that says, "And we sent down from the sky water that purifies." For Ibn Arabi, this was more than a description of physical water. It was a reminder that everything descending from the divine has the power to cleanse, whether it is rain on the earth or guidance on the heart. The key is whether you allow it to touch you. A roof can keep the rain from soaking the ground. And in the same way, a hardened heart can keep mercy from entering. But if you remove the barriers, the cleansing will come, and with it, a new clarity. So the next time you watch the rain washing over your city, do not only think of the streets becoming clean. Think of your heart and ask, what dust have I gathered? What burdens need to be lifted? The rain is a reminder that purification is always possible. That no matter how heavy the stains of the past, God has placed renewal within reach. And if the earth can be refreshed after a storm, so too can your soul. Rain can be gentle, bringing peace and refreshment, but it can also be fierce, arriving as storms that flood rivers and overwhelm entire landscapes. Ibn Arabi would remind us that both forms come from the same source. Both are written in the same divine plan, and both carry meaning for the one who reflects. In this way, rain is not only a symbol of mercy or provision, it is also a sign of trial. Too little rain brings drought, too much brings destruction. Between these two extremes lies the delicate balance that sustains life. For Ibn Arabi, this balance was not accidental. It was a mirror of how the divine arranges the affairs of the world and the affairs of the human heart. When rain becomes a storm, we often see only the disruption it causes. Roads are blocked, homes are damaged, and people feel fear in the face of forces they cannot control. Yet Ibn Arabi would say that behind this outward chaos lies an inner wisdom. Just as the earth sometimes needs to be broken open by heavy rain to release its fertility, so too does the soul sometimes need to be shaken by trials to release its hidden strength. What appears destructive on the surface can be the very thing that prepares you for growth. He often reminded seekers that nothing in existence is without purpose. If hardship comes, it is not random. It is measured just as every raindrop is measured. Storms test the strength of the trees, and in the same way, trials test the strength of your faith. Some trees lose branches, others are uprooted, but those with deep roots endure and grow stronger. The lesson is clear. When the storm comes into your life, do not see it only as punishment or misfortune. See it as a sign that something within you is being prepared, cleansed, or revealed. Rain as a trial also teaches patience. You cannot stop the storm once it begins. You cannot command the clouds to leave when you wish. You must wait, endure, and trust that the balance will return. Ibn Arabi saw this surrender as an essential part of spiritual life. Just as the farmer cannot rush the season, the seeker cannot rush God's wisdom. Trials must run their course, and in that process, the heart learns endurance, humility, and trust. Think too of how after the heaviest storms, the air often feels clearer, the earth more fertile, and rivers more abundant. The destruction passes, but the blessing remains. In the same way, after the hardest trials of your life, you may find a strength you did not know you had, or a closeness to God you had never experienced before. Ibn Arabi would say that this is the hidden gift of trials. They break illusions, strip away pride, and leave you face to face with what truly matters. So when the rain in your life feels overwhelming, remember that balance is always restored. The one who sends the storm also sends the calm. Both are written for you. Both are part of the divine harmony, and both carry wisdom if you choose to see it. When the storm passes and the clouds begin to part, the world takes on a new face. The air is fresh, the colors are brighter, and the land that once seemed lifeless now shimmers with vitality. Ibn Arabi would see in this not just a change in weather, but a reflection of one of the greatest truths of the spiritual path. After every trial, renewal awaits. Rain does not only cleanse and test, it also prepares the ground for new life. It breaks what was hardened, softens what was dry, and awakens what was sleeping. In this way, it becomes a symbol of rebirth, a reminder that no state of the soul is permanent. Darkness passes, storms end, and with God's will, new chapters always begin. Think of how seeds lie hidden in the soil for months, sometimes years, waiting for the right conditions. To the eye, the earth looks empty, barren, and hopeless. But then rain descends, and suddenly what seemed dead reveals its life. Green shoots emerge, flowers appear, and entire fields transform almost overnight. Ibn Arabi often compared this to the human heart. A person may feel stuck, broken, or spiritually lifeless, convinced that change is impossible. But when the rain of divine grace touches them, transformation can occur in an instant. What was once despair becomes hope. What was once sin becomes repentance. What was once neglect becomes remembrance. This is why he urged seekers never to despair of God's mercy. Just as barren land can bloom again, so too can the soul. You may think you are beyond repair, that your mistakes have sealed your fate. But the rain reminds you that renewal is always possible. The past does not define the future, because the mercy of God is always greater than the weight of your errors. The moment you turn back to Him, the clouds open and the rain begins to fall. Notice also that after the heaviest rains, the earth is often most fertile. Farmers know that storms, though destructive, leave behind soil rich with nutrients, ready for new planting. In the same way, your hardest trials often leave you more humble, more compassionate, and more aware of your dependence on God. The pain breaks you, but in breaking, it prepares you to grow in ways you never could before. Ibn Arabi would say that the soul after hardship is like the land after rain, softened, receptive, and ready for the seeds of wisdom. So the next time you walk outside after a rainfall, pay attention to how everything feels renewed. Let it remind you that you too can begin again. Whatever heaviness you carry, whatever mistakes you regret, whatever storms you have endured, they are not the end of your story. They are only the preparation for new life. Just as the earth drinks and revives, so can your soul. Renewal is not a dream for tomorrow. It is a truth written into the very fabric of existence. The rain that falls on the land is also falling on your heart, inviting you to awaken to a new beginning. Not all rain falls from the sky. Ibn Arabi would remind his students that there is also an inner rain, a rainfall of the Spirit that descends into the heart. Just as the clouds gather in the heavens, unseen mysteries gather within the soul. And when the time is right, they pour down as inspiration, clarity, or remembrance. This inner rain cannot be measured in droplets or seen with the eyes, but its effects are unmistakable. It softens what was hard, revives what was dormant, and leaves behind a freshness that changes the way you walk through the world. Think of the moments in your life when a sudden thought, a flash of insight, or a stirring of emotion arrived unannounced. You were not expecting it, yet it came with the force of something greater than yourself. Ibn Arabi would say that this too is rain, divine wisdom descending quietly into your soul. Sometimes it comes in the form of tears, the rain of the eyes that purifies the heart. Sometimes it comes in the form of peace, an inner calm that settles over you after prayer. And sometimes it comes as a sudden awareness, as if a veil has been lifted and the truth is shining in front of you. This inner rain is not random. Just as the sky prepares for rain through winds and clouds, the heart prepares for divine inspiration through remembrance, sincerity, and patience. A heart distracted by noise, pride, or heedlessness is like a desert sealed by rock, unable to absorb what falls upon it. But a heart that remembers God, that humbles itself, that seeks, becomes like fertile soil, ready to drink deeply from the unseen. Ibn Arabi taught that if you open your heart in this way, inspiration will come to you in forms you could never have imagined. Notice also that inner rain does not always arrive in abundance. Sometimes it comes as a single drop, a brief moment of awareness, a tiny reminder in the middle of daily life. But just as one drop can begin to nourish a seed, one moment of divine inspiration can change the direction of your soul. It may lead you to repent, to forgive, to seek knowledge, or to draw closer to the one who never leaves you. The secret is to notice it, to value it, and to let it soak into your being rather than rushing past it. So the next time you feel tears rise in your eyes, or a sudden calm descend upon your heart, or a thought arrive that pulls you back towards your Lord, do not dismiss it. Recognize it as inner rain, a gift sent to you just as surely as water falls from the clouds. Ibn Arabi would say that these moments are signs of God's nearness, reminders that He speaks not only through the world around you, but through the silence within you. To receive this rain is to awaken to the reality that your soul, like the earth, is never left without care. When you gather all these meanings together, mercy, provision, purification, trial, renewal, and inner inspiration, rain becomes far more than a natural event. It becomes a mirror in which you can see the many faces of divine wisdom. Ibn Arabi would say that the universe is layered, that behind every outward form lies an inward truth, and behind every inward truth lies yet another. Rain is one of those signs that reveals this endless depth. To the eye, it is water falling from clouds. To the heart, it is mercy descending. To the soul, it is God speaking in a language that only remembrance can understand. Pause and think. The next time rain begins to fall where you are, what will you see? Will you see only gray skies and wet ground? Or will you see an invitation written just for you? Perhaps the rain is reminding you to be patient during a trial. Perhaps it is telling you that blessings are on their way. Perhaps it is asking you to cleanse your heart, to soften your spirit, or to begin again with renewed faith. Ibn Arabi would remind us that the answer is not the same for everyone. The sign is one, but the message is shaped for each soul according to its moment. What you need to hear may not be what someone else needs. That is the beauty of divine signs. They are universal in form, but personal in meaning. Think of how the rain falls on many houses in the same street. Some people rejoice and thank God. Others complain and wish for it to stop, while others do not notice it at all. The rain is the same, but the hearts that receive it are different. In this way, rain exposes the state of your soul. Do you meet it with gratitude, with patience, with awareness, or with heedlessness? This is why Ibn Arabi taught that every encounter with creation is also an encounter with yourself. What you see in the sign is a reflection of the state of your heart. The Sufi path is a journey of learning how to read these signs, how to move beyond appearances into meaning. Rain is a teacher if you allow it to be. It shows you that mercy is endless, that provision comes in many forms, that trials carry wisdom, that renewal is always possible, and that inspiration descends when the heart is open. All of this is written into something as simple as water falling from the sky. To ignore it is to miss a conversation that God Himself has begun with you. So ask yourself, what is rain telling me in this season of my life? Is it calling me to trust, to purify, to endure, or to hope? Only you can answer. For the sign is one, but the message is personal. Ibn Arabi would say that if you approach it with humility, you will discover that every raindrop carries a truth meant to awaken your heart. When the rain falls, it is easy to forget its meaning. People hurry to their homes, open umbrellas, and complain about the inconvenience. Yet, Ibn Arabi would remind us that in those very drops lies a conversation between you and your Lord. The clouds do not gather without reason. The sky does not open without wisdom, and water does not descend without purpose. To the heedless, it is weather. To the seeker, it is a verse. To the lover of God, it is a reminder that mercy is always near, that life is always renewed, and that no soul is ever left unattended. Think of everything the rain has shown us. It descends as mercy, feeding both the body and the heart. It arrives as provision, sustaining every living thing with generosity beyond measure. It purifies, washing away dust from the land and burdens from the soul. It tests, sometimes arriving as storms that shake foundations, but leave behind hidden strength. It renews, turning barren fields into gardens and broken hearts into places of new beginnings. And it inspires, descending into the heart as sudden clarity, as tears of longing, as peace that no words can capture. In all these meanings, rain is not only water. It is a messenger, a sign, a reflection of the divine names written into the world around us. Ibn Arabi often said that nothing in creation is empty of God's wisdom. If even the smallest ant crossing your path carries meaning, then how much more the rain that falls from the sky, nourishing entire worlds. He taught that the true seeker is the one who never dismisses anything as ordinary. Every event, every moment, every encounter is a letter in the book of existence, and rain is one of the clearest chapters in that book. It is as if heaven itself leans down to whisper, "Remember me, trust me, return to me." So the next time the clouds open above you, do not rush only to cover yourself. Pause for a moment. Let a drop touch your skin. Listen to the sound against the earth. Breathe in the scent of renewal and ask yourself, what is God telling me in this moment? What message is meant for my heart right now? If you approach the rain in this way, you will find that no storm is wasted, no drizzle is without meaning, and no drop is ever silent. Each one is a gift, a sign that the divine conversation with your soul never ends. And now I ask you, what has rain meant in your life? Have you ever felt its message touch your heart in ways you could not explain? Share your reflections in the comments below, because your story may become a light for someone else. And if these words have spoken to you, join the caravan of secrets. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the wisdom waiting to be uncovered. Together, let us continue this journey of seeing beyond appearances, of reading the signs, and of walking the path that leads back to the beloved.